is and I'm the head of Congressional Affairs and Strategic Engagement with the HALO Trust office here in the U.S. HALO is one of the world's largest humanitarian demining organizations and partners with both the State Department and the Defense Department, helping to save lives and restore livelihoods by clearing mines and securing weapons in about 30 countries all over the world. Mine Awareness Day is a day to celebrate the progress of the demining sector in eliminating explosives as we all work towards creating a safer and more secure world. This is also a time to reaffirm the U.S. commitment to demining and weapons security, as the U.S. has historically been the largest contributor to demining in the world. This work makes the U.S. stronger by building partnerships abroad, more secure and protected from threats of terrorism, and creates opportunities and stronger economies around the world, supporting American prosperity, while also having enormous and incredibly important life-saving humanitarian benefits. You'll hear from other members of Congress and guests later today, but I'd first like to welcome Congressman Bera, a member of the Unexploded Ordnance and Demining Caucus, ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on East Asia and the Pacific, and a great champion of demining. Thank you so much for being here, Congressman.
Thank you, HALO, for the great work that you do. I've had the chance firsthand to go to Southeast Asia, to go to Laos and go out in the field and see the work that they're doing to heal the legacy from the Vietnam War era. Just the number of ordinances. As our troops were returning back to Cambodia, they had to drop all their ordinances in order to get back to Cambodia. So just in Laos itself, the number of unexploded ordinances. But in Vietnam, you also see the legacy of a lot of kids that have lost limbs, etc. And again, this is the right thing to do. We had a chance to go out with HALO in the Solomon Islands and get a chance of what they're doing. That's going all the way back to World War II, to the Valadao Canal. So our work's not done. It's incredibly important for the United States with partners around the world to continue to do this work. We know the conflict in Ukraine. We're going to have a lot of cleaning up to do, what's happening in the Middle East and elsewhere. So, for the staff that are here, we do have a great bill that's out there that is what I call the Leahy Legacy Bill, which really champions Senator Patrick Leahy, who retired a few years ago, but he really was our champion in the conscience of making sure we did what we had to do post-conflict to try to make things right. So again, HALO, thank you for everything that you're doing, for the groups that are here. Thank you for the work that you do out in the field. And the United States, while things may not look great right now, we're not going anywhere, and we've got to clean things up. So thank you. You will.
Thank you so much, Congressman Bera. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the sponsors of this event, and from the HALO Trust in particular, I want to thank Naaman Davis Rafferty, who helps to coordinate this event. I also want to recognize David Boom in the corner from Mines Advisory Group. And thank you so much also to sponsors APOPO and PeaceTrees Vietnam. Come see some of the exhibits from those mentioned, along with Legacies of War, the Marshall Legacy Institute, Humanity and Inclusion, the James Madison University's Center for International Stabilization and Recovery Center, Golden West Humanitarian Foundation, the Army's Humanitarian Demining Research and Development Program, and demining and EOD personnel from AFRICOM and UXO. So please enjoy some food, grab a drink, make your way around the exhibits, and thank you all so much for being here, and we'll hear from some other guests a bit later on.
If I can have everybody's attention, it'll be worth it, I promise. For those who don't know me, my name is David Boom. I'm with the Mines Advisory Group, one of the leading implementing partners of conventional weapons destruction programs in over 40 countries to help identify and clear explosive remnants of war to effectively manage weapons and ammunition held by the State Department's Office of Weapons Removal and Abatement for more than 20 years to further U.S. foreign policy, as well as the Defense Department. As you already know, we're part of a really unique and tightly knit sector here. Matt is partnered in one way or another with just about every organization represented here in this room, one of which is APOPO. So I'd ask you all to divert your attention right over here to Charlie and the APOPO team, as well as the Maryland Zoo, who will be running a demonstration of how their rats detect landmines, in particular, Valadao. Am I saying that right? More ambassador. The APOPO Hero Rat program trains African giant pouch rats to sniff out landmines around the world. APOPO currently has 108 such rats deployed to detect landmines. We're currently waking up from a nap, so please appreciate the efforts.
My name is Chrissy Houlahan. I come from just outside Philadelphia. I am the co-chair of the Demining Caucus here in Congress and just came from votes. I don't believe that my co-chair, Mr. Valadao, will be able to address, so consider us here together today to mark the importance of all of the work that you all do around the world and here in this capital to make sure that we live in a safer world. What I will tell you is that still in 60 countries today, as probably all of you all know professionally, people are waking up with the threat of landmines in their area. And we need to make sure that that number goes down to 0. I ran into some folks in the hall who were here from Ukraine. I see some outfits that would indicate that there are Ukrainians in the house as well. You all are in the 4th year of war and now have, I believe, millions of acres of farmland that are not available to you, regardless of the state of peace that exists, that we need to also be addressing. And we also, of course, know that there continues to be mining issues in Africa, mining issues in Asia as well. So I do just want to say thank you very much to everybody who's here, whether you're from the Army's demining group, or you're from AFRICOM or UCOM, or you're from all over the world. We're grateful to you to be here. Please know that this is a pretty ambitious, aggressive caucus of bipartisan support for you for this issue. And please know that you're working very hard, even in this dysfunctional time, to make that happen. In fact, I've taken it on the chin for you a couple of times just in the last week. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll give the microphone over to Congressman Brian Mast.
It's great to see you all. This is the most badass reception of any receptions that happen here on the Hill. We all know this is the best group of badasses. Of course, in the scope of the whole military arsenal, those of us that put time on that, everybody that worked in the civilian world, the job, as I say every year, it's always dangerous, it's very often deadly, and for everybody that's been a part of this community, always looking for ways, innovative ways to go out there and take something so inherently dangerous and try to find ways to save life, limb, and property and create better capabilities to do the job. Truly a worthy and noble mission because, you know, as we come up into May every year, we start thinking about, as we've done so many years, put names on the walls. We know exactly how dangerous the work is, and so the work to go out there and create better capabilities to do it. Can't thank everybody enough for their participation in this world because it does very literally make a difference to all of us and to all of our friends that are in uniform, out of uniform. We know it's a tight-knit group and you're helping lives, you're changing lives, you're saving lives. So I salute all of you and look forward to BSing with you for a little bit. Thanks.
Just to reemphasize, we are so incredibly grateful for the leadership of the UXO Demining Caucus, which now has 70 members under the leadership of Congresswoman Houlahan and Congressman Valadao. You know, especially during this time, having a
good evening, everyone. Thank you, and welcome to this year's Blind Awareness Day celebration and exhibition. As a founding co-chair of the UXO Demining Caucus all the way back in 2017, I'm honored to be back up here alongside. Apparently, I missed her because I got stuck in another meeting, but Representative Houlahan, she does a great job, and I'm thrilled to work with her. As co-chair, once again, to talk about such an important issue. I visited the demining site a few years ago while being cleared by the Halo trucks, and was in the room today and saw firsthand the impact of the work that they do in some of these communities. Everyone should feel safe to work their own land and provide for their families. Around the world, acres and acres of farmland is unsafe to use because of landmines. They kill livestock, destroy crops, and put the farmers' lives at risk trying to work their unsafe land. Landmines are threatening families, driving hunger, and making communities unsafe in 80 countries. But it's our hope that we can make it so no one has to live in fear of these unexploded ordinances. Demining work also combats the black market arms trade and illicit weapons trafficking, keeping government weapons out of the hands of terror groups. I'm very happy to see some of the other organizations leading this effort on the ground here in the room, including the Mines Advisory Group, the APOPO, and PeaceTrees Vietnam. We also have representatives here from the Department of Defense who are carrying out this work on behalf of the United States in over 80 countries and areas. Thank you all for your service. I've been so glad to see such bipartisan support for these programs over the past few years, as well as growth in the UXO Demining Caucus since I co-founded it years ago, and I really hope to see it continue. I mean, us members of Congress, we deal with a lot of issues, and it seems like we're a jack of all trades master. I see we got Brian Mast smiling at me, so I look forward to working with him on his Committee of Foreign Affairs. I serve on the Appropriations Committee. I think all of us have a role to play in this. I think it's vital that we continue to do this. I think it's something that really, truly makes a difference, and I think it's one of the things that we should work on to make sure that this administration understands the importance of it as well, and we can all work together to move forward and make some real progress. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you all for the work that you put into this, and I look forward to being a partner with all of you in this.
Here from Mr. Sompai Omahacha, who is the Deputy Chief of Mission from the Embassy of the Laos People's Democratic Republic, on how clearing munitions is so critical to the relationships between our countries.
Honorable Caucus representatives, yes, my colleagues, who is born in the Peace Commission of Vietnam in Washington, representative of international organization, departments, others, the engagements, who's doing, Spidey. First of all, I would like to thank for organizing this event, especially for inviting me to be here. It's event like extremely important for the awareness and demand everyone to of how much everything bombings is as well as how long and painful is take to address the long-term implication of the youth and exported ordinance. Laos PDI is well known to be the most behavioral bombs coming in the world history, with millions tons of bombs being lost during the war times. The finger that's lost during the second wars in Germany survived. As a result, 30% of the 31 million bombs demand and export, thus treating everyone's lives of the people of Laos. From time to time, you heard news about the bomb explosion here and has killed thousands of people, including the students. That's why consistent demanding the force for the answer simply with the assistance and support of the US government, European partners. He will get this book. We were still far from exit complete demand. In fact, according to some estimate, we could take 1,000 years to do so with the current slowly based problem. Operation and limited support. For example, we have spent more than 30 years since the 1996 trying to kill a total 81 million UXO. Yeah. Only the sums 1.3 million UXO has been here. It means that we exceed less 10% of the total amounts grateful demand in Laos. In this regard, ministers of our Lawrence country and European partners, including US Congress and government, have kindly provided assistance and resources to Laos in order to solve the execution program. However, we do not yet know when and how long it would be takes from remove the UXO from Laos in order to bring about the well-being and normal livelihood to the people. This means the very home use continue to twist the livelihood of the Laos people. In the links, the government efforts to compete with the people, even the people out from the poverty and remove and promote their well-being. This situation would be executed by the economics and financial hardship brought about by the current global economic and political circumstances. Therefore, continue support and assistance from international community, particularly the US government, is more crucial. However, with the current administration, what is some left fund could be it is substance. But we are happy to hear that this administration has reversed this cost of the substance fiscal fund for the government as announced by the Swedish Department on March 1st, 2025. And we look forward to continue to support. Moving forward in this regards to this thought and support of the Congress member would be more important. It just before I conclude my remarks, allow me on behalf of the Embassy, would like to take the opportunity to express our gratitude to the US government advocacy scope. The institution, individuals try to join one in this to for consistent support and assistance to allow government to work us with significant contribution to our efforts to industrialize UXO and making this way for the Laos people in access to the area to spend less normalized and create safety environment for our students to study here and for social economic activity, which is essential for of sustainable development. We hope we receive everyone's continue to support in the future. So, thank you so much.
I'll introduce Ms. Nguyen Quy Hong, Deputy Chief of Mission for the Embassy of Vietnam.
Honorable members of Congress, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to represent the Ambassador of Vietnam on this very significant occasion of International Mine Awareness Day hosted by the Congressional UXO Demining Caucus. Today, we gather to reflect and renew our commitment to overcoming one of the most persistent legacies of war, unexploded ordnance and landmines. I would like to sincerely thank the Congressional UXO Demining Caucus and our international partners for your steadfast efforts as I join with my colleague and friend Chrissy from Laos. I'm so happy before addressing this forum, I have been able to meet with Bera and PeaceTrees, some of the very long-term partners and organizations who have worked in the most affected provinces, which is the Quang Binh and Quang Chi in Vietnam, and they have saved lives and made significant changes to people living there. So your commitment, including commitment from MAC and PeaceTrees, not only saved lives, it transforms communities, fosters brings peace and brings hope across the globe. And you may know that this year we mark the 30th anniversary of the normalization of US-Vietnam relations and the 50th anniversary of the end of the war. So I think it's important and very meaningful to celebrate this event. Ladies and gentlemen, Vietnam remains among the most heavily contaminated countries, with 800,000 tons of UXO still affecting nearly 1/5 of our land. Despite progress, clearing around 30,000 hectares annually, an estimated 5.6 million hectares remain. At this pace, it means that it will take nearly 200 years to complete the job. We cannot afford to wait 2 more centuries to fix a tragedy born in the past. We must act now with urgency, unity, and innovation to finish this work within our lifetime, not limited to our great-grandchildren. First, we must scale up clearance efforts, boosting the annual capacity nearly 5-fold in Vietnam alone. This means more trained personnel and better equipment. The recent handover of the Barbie Humanitarian Mine Action Demolition Training Facility by the U.S. Army is an important step in enhancing Vietnam's capacity, and we hope to see further investments of this nature. Equally important is the mobilization of sustainable funding. We call on the international community, especially long-term partners such as the United States, Japan, Korea, the European Union, and global institutions like the United Nations and World Bank to commit long-term, multi-decade support. Encouragingly, both Vietnam and the U.S. reaffirm that war legacy cooperation is a cornerstone of our comprehensive strategic partnership. Even as global aid faces cuts, we understand that key joint projects such as UXO clearance and dioxin remediation at Myanmar Airport are being sustained or resumed, which is very encouraging. We hope this continued support will hold true not only in Vietnam, but also for similar humanitarian programs across the region and around the world, including Laos. Third, at the national level, Vietnam is committed to establishing a long-term action plan for UXO clearance with clear milestones and priorities based on several critical areas. 1. Clearance efforts target high-risk zones where UXO poses an immediate threat to human life. 2. Demining activities are aligned with key social-economic development projects to safely unlock land for infrastructure, agriculture, and economic development. And 3. UXO removal is closely coordinated with the research and recovery of Vietnam's war mother's remains and US personnel still missing in action. Over the past 5 decades, Vietnam has repatriated more than 1,200 sets of remains, helping the United States identify over 735 of its missing in action. Before I conclude, allow me to share one final example, one that captures the essence of a partnership and the promise of what lies ahead. Just last week, in the meeting with U.S. Ambassador Mark Napper, the Vice Chairman of Guangxi, where around 82% of the land remains contaminated, called on the U.S. to help make Guangxi the first UXO safe province in Vietnam by 2035. It is an ambitious goal, one that demands resources and enduring political will. But if the past 50 years have shown us anything, it is that nothing is impossible when our two nations work forward together. This year, as I mentioned before, marks the 40th years of diplomatic ties, an anniversary that Ambassador Panama called a testament to the resilience and strength of our relationship. He reaffirmed America's commitment to supporting Vietnam, especially provinces like Guangxi, in overcoming the enduring consequences of war and building a future rooted in prosperity and peace, and to serve winners with the Vietnamese counterparts. So let us take that commitment to heart. Let us match it with action, and let us never lose sight of the profound truth that guides our operation, that we do not clear bombs merely to remove what's beneath the soil. We do it to reclaim what is possible above it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really, that's the theme. I want to give kind of another round of thank yous. So thank you to the Deputy Chief of Mission, Vongma Kachak, as well as Deputy Chief of Mission, Houlahan. Thank you so much for your remarks. Thank you to the co-chairs for stopping by, Chrissy Houlahan and David Valadao. Thank you to Congressman Mast, if he's still in the room. Thank you, Congressman Mast. Thank you to Representative Bera, to all of you for being here, because we so appreciate the support, to all the implementing partners and general partners who are doing this work all over the world. I also just specifically want to thank Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Stan Brown and his colleagues from the State Department's Political Military Affairs Bureau, Office of Weapons Removal and Abatement, for being here. Thank you. As well as Sean Burke, who leads the Army Humanitarian Demining Research and Development Program, Andy Burnett, the Director, as well as Deputy Director Andre Sikowski from the Global Humanitarian Health and Accountability Policy Office at OSD Policy. So, to everyone, as we move forward, there's a lot of work ahead from Ukraine to the Solomon Islands. There's just a lot of places that continue to need demining support, and each and every one of you is needed to ensure that the caucus can continue to grow, that support can continue to grow, and that we can continue to save lives together. So thank you so much for being here, and we can have a little mingle time